Alchemist 0-1 is finally out. This is a very exciting day for me, hopefully it will be the same for you. In this video I am going to tell you everything about the new version, but you can go play the game right now if you don't have the patience. The link is in the description. To those who decided to stay with me, enjoy! My favorite part of this new version is the weather. Rains, storms, clouds and fog, each with its own ambience, visuals and gameplay effects. It can even be felt inside buildings and dungeons. While you might not get wet from the rain, you will certainly see those lightning flashes. Speaking of lightning, there are so many new sounds, from fireplace crackling, to all the creatures that were missing them before, to bell sounds announcing the new day, and ticking clock indicating skip turns, and of course, the sounds of crafting. I've adjusted the 3D sound settings slightly, and now the game spreads the sounds more evenly between channels. This is for you, people with fancy headphones. Of course, I also have to mention all the new flora that decorates the world now, even if it technically belongs to another part, and the new tile for torches. This release overhauls the start of the game completely. Now we have a proper prologue to the story, and a dedicated tutorial section. The prologue culminates in the encounter with the devil, who saves you in exchange for the contract signed. The contract terms are important. They are essentially your difficulty choice. If you are playing a free version of the game, you can choose between a single life and 3 extra lives. If you bought the game, you can also have my eternal gratitude, and unlimited lives. This, by the way, is the only difference between versions. As before, after completing the prologue once, you are free to skip it and start writing your new lab. You will still have a short talk with the devil, in a sort of flashback, just to select the difficulty. Throughout the prologue, and during other breaks in gameplay like deaths, you'll see short narration sequences. Unlike everything else in the game, those can depend on external factors, like whether you have completed the tutorial and how many times you restarted. There is quite a pool of them to avoid the monotony. A new quest to obtain an alembic is available now. It includes a new small area, an NPC to talk to and trade with, a ton of dialogue, and 2 ways of completion. Another quest, this time completely optional, is available to the east of stables, in a new area. It features a lot of choices for you, some highly beneficial, some very silly. The lumberjack that gives you the quest is also a trader, willing to sell you fresh wood. Early game receives one more area to visit, Lonely Church. It includes another friendly NPC, who you can potentially trade with, a lot of dialogue once again, and a few secrets to explore. Overall, there are 3 new merchants in the game compared to 1 before, and 2 of them can sell you books, which for those unaware are the source of skill points equivalent in my game. As mentioned, the dialogue is abundant, with all those new NPCs, with the devil, with our good friend the bartender. And often your choice in the dialogue really does matter, so pay attention. But of course, it's not all story. I've also brought more interesting challenges and places to explore. I remade the fortress ruins, so that instead of one lonely structure there is a complex, with a wall. Mansion ruins now have a completely new subtype, crystalline, with blue torches, crystals everywhere, and a new type of enemy. And the swamps now have a new enemy too. Leeches that actively hunt you for your blood, but leave you alone after feeding on you. To deal with all the challenges, old and new, now you can get new recipes to play with. Coagulant is a simple one, just stopping the bleeding that leeches cause. Leather skin potion protects you from physical damage, and eel skin potion gives you immunity to grabs, like those of Crimson Ivy, and a chance to dodge the attacks. Skeleton Key is an unbreakable lockpick, and Scarlet Flask lets you collect blood from corpses. Salamander Boots protect you from fires on the ground, and Sparkling Gloves let you shock your opponents or break crystals in one hit. Efficient Burner is a permanent upgrade to your crafting stations that lets you burn less fuel. Black Fire Potion is a deadly combat potion that burns the opponents and causes them to explode on death. Talisman of Slippery Luck has a 50% chance to cancel lethal damage, breaking in process. Stardust is a substance that speeds you up by 100%, but deals 1 damage per turn. You can also sell it to Ricardo. Unlike the other ones, this item is only unlockable through a quest. A selection of new items appeared in the game. New flora like dandelions, tinder fungus and hyacinths. New loot like coffee, dice and onions. And of course, several new books. And weather, of course, should add some variety to the gameplay with its effects. Don't rely on fire all the time, sometimes it rains. The bestiary is here for you now. When you examine a creature, it's recorded in your journal, and you can read the most detailed information about it whenever you want. As mentioned, now you can choose to play with extra lives. It was one of the most requested features, probably second only to nerfing the snakes. I simplified the controls for mouse users. No longer you need to use the targeted interface designed for keyboards. Instead, you can just right-click. A new creature overlay is now available. When it's enabled, the game points at all visible creatures, with the color of the arrows signifying their intents. Both this and the old loot overlay now have buttons in the UI that double as indicators whether the overlay is currently on. In examination mode, you can now search for level exits by clicking this button. A ticking sound now announces whenever you skip a turn. Lockpicking is no longer a separate action. Lockpicks are used automatically when you interact with locked objects. Now, this is the most requested feature in the game. Snakes now heavily prefer not approaching the player if they don't have to. Additionally, many weather effects cause cold-blooded creatures to become less active. Does it mean they won't eat you alive if you let them? Of course it doesn't. And if they don't, something else will. It was a pretty large update, probably not as massive as the 0.11, but a lot of work was done nevertheless. When I look at the version control, I see some 400 files changed. That must mean something. It wasn't an easy year for me. It still isn't. But I'm very happy to be able to continue this work regardless. I did my best to make the game more varied and interesting this update, and I tried to address the issues that people had. There is still of course more to do, and so I will. Go play the game now, and if you want to see how it goes in the future, you can subscribe. See you!